My name is Jonathan Thomas Palmer. I created the YouTube channel Flipping Physics. I was a high school physics teacher for 25 years, but about a year and a half ago, I switched to full time. I now do this full time where I make free physics educational videos for mostly for AP Physics students in the United States, but I do get a lot of people throughout on the whole planet that watch my videos, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. So where did your passion for physics begin? Was it like a specific moment or
Uh, that's an interesting question. I don't know when my passion for physics began. What I would say is I've always been interested in how things work and why they work. Um, I got into theoretical physics in high school, which was really fun. And then for practical reasons, I got a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. Um, and what I really learned about myself through going through mechanical engineering school is that I really like learning. I really enjoy just like learning how things work and like the way engineering and physics works, which is like trying to describe the way the world works using equations, which I just think is such a cool idea that you can like predict what's going to happen based on variables and taking measurements. It's just like, I don't know. I always love that. Um, yeah, so I've always had a love of learning and trying to figure out how the world works, and that's basically physics. So
So, like, when was your first exposure to physics? Like, was it high school? And how did it go beyond that point? Like, how did your education and career path look like?
sure. So my first physics class was my junior year in high school. My high school only offered one AP course, which was AP English. So I was unable to take an AP physics course in high school. So I did not take physics my senior year in high school. Um, but I ended up taking, a lot of physics in my mechanical engineering to get my mechanical engineering degree. Um, so, I mean, that's kind of where it started.
yeah. Um, Looking back, like why did you continue to pursue physics beyond when you were introduced to it? I guess like for your career and why did you choose to become a teacher?
So I graduated from college and I got a job working as an engineer. And I did not like it. Um, what I'd like to tell my students is I did not get a job, which I think if I had gotten the job, I would have stuck with it and probably would still be doing it, which is that I did not get a job working for a company called Guidant that made pacemakers, and I would have been designing pacemakers. So for me personally, what I do every day, I need to care about. And I really would have enjoyed that, and I would have been a good challenge. I would have felt like I was helping people. But for me personally, I was working on cars, and I just don't care about cars. I know there are a lot of people who do, and I think that's awesome. You need to figure out what it is that you care about and find a way to have a job that has to do with it. So, um, after just over a year of being an engineer, I was like, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life. And I tried to figure out what else I wanted to do. And I had actually been a summer camp counselor for 5 summers, and I really loved working with kids. And I was like, well, I guess I could become a high school physics teacher and physics because like that was my main interest as far as education was concerned. So I went back and got a master's degree in education and I started teaching physics. And it was amazing to start teaching physics because it was eye-opening as to how much physics I needed to learn in order to be a good teacher of physics. So yeah, those first few years, that first decade was a lot. And I'm actually still learning physics. I'm still like I delve into each topic very deeply and I learn things as I do that, which is pretty fun.
And then I guess our next question is you mentioned how you really enjoyed like working with people. So why did you choose to step back from teaching in, was it 2013 of August?
It was actually 2014. Oh, when I left. Okay. So in August of 2013, I left to start flipping physics because I felt like I could have a larger impact on more people being a YouTube educator. And then I went back to the classroom in 2015 because I could not support myself financially and my family doing that at the time. It just was not feasible.
Yeah.
And do you have any other platforms besides YouTube that you teach physics on? And was YouTube also like the first platform that you started posting videos on?
Actually, YouTube is not where I started. I started in 2012. I tried to avoid YouTube for quite a while, for almost a year, because I dislike all the advertisements and all the commercialization and the algorithm and all that stuff. So for a long time, I was only making videos for my own students and was posting them on various websites. But that became not feasible because the video takes up so much space and I could not find any other platform. So YouTube was the only platform in early 2013 that I could really use to share videos. Um, right now, I of course make TikTok videos. I post things on Instagram. I post things on Facebook. I also license my content through Discovery Education and Bow Clips. And I also have the Ultimate Exam Slayer and Ultimate Review Packet.
Yeah. Um, Jesse and I are really big fans of Billy, Bobby, and Bo, especially how they like make errors that we make and you let them make errors and you show us how to overcome those errors. So my question is, where did those characters come from?
Okay, so this is going to sound weird, but they came from the fall of 2003. My eldest child was having surgery. They were born with several birth defects, and they're doing really well now. But one of them was a spinal surgery, and we knew like 3 months in advance when that surgery was going to be. And I know this is a long-winded answer to your question, but it is an answer to your question. uh, and knew I was going to be absent for a couple of days for that surgery. And I, as a teacher, really abhor missing class. So what I decided to do was to film myself teaching so that my students could watch me in class when I was out of class. So in the fall of 2003, I actually like did flipped learning, but in reverse. I filmed myself as a teacher because I was not going to be there for my students to learn in class. And I started trying to figure out how to do it, and I realized I could not stand there and just talk to no one. So I wrote a script and I was like, I'm gonna have three characters, and I didn't have much time, and so I went to my closet and I was like, okay, what can I do? I have a tie, so I can wear a tie and I can be an uptight individual wearing a tie, and then I have tie dyes because that's pretty much all I wear, so I could be, you know, Bo as a relaxed individual who wears tie dyes all the time. And then my wife had a Steelers jersey, and I was like, well, I could be some sort of jock individual. So it really was just born out of like the things that were in my closet. But over the last maybe decade or more, they've really taken on their own personalities. I've spent a lot of time, believe it or not, thinking about who they are and how they're going to respond to things. And I try very hard to make it so none of them are the smart one and none of them are the dumb one. Um, and that's an important thing for me because, like, I, no particular, how do I say this? I don't like categorizing people, and no one is dumb and no one is smart. It's all about effort, and sometimes we get stuff wrong. That's the way it is. And you have to learn from that. Like, that's one of the things I love about my videos. Sorry, I'm talking for a long time. I, um, I design the videos like the way I teach, which is I ask a lot of questions. And when I ask a student a question and they give me the wrong next step, I continue with that step until we figure out what's wrong with it. Because as a student, that is such an important thing to learn, right? Because you're going to make mistakes. And what is it like? You get to the square root of a negative number and you can't say, oh, well, I'll just make it positive. You have to like backtrack and figure out, okay, where did I get it wrong so that I can make this logical, right? Anyway, that's my answer.
And with like the three characters, it seems like your videos have like quite a lot of editing. So what does like the process of making videos look like from like the start to finish, from recording to editing? And do you have like a team and how long does it take? Like things like that.
Okay. Uh, it usually start like, I mean, it starts with an I there's a lot more than just the filming and the editing. Uh it starts with a basic idea for the video. Which right now I'm going through AP Physics 2, so I will look at like the different benchmarks or whatever they're called for AP Physics 2, and I will figure out like what's the basic structure here of this. Like how can I present this particular topic well? Like for example, right now I'm talking about electric fields and electric potential difference. And so I came up with a diagram and an animation that will show exactly what I'm trying to do. So I'll start with, believe it or not, the animation or the visuals that I'm going to do. Then I will write lecture notes for everything. Then I will write out the script. After I'm done with that, I post it on my website, and I have a small number of teachers who volunteer, whom I call my quality control team, and they look over my scripts and they will identify mistakes or come up with suggestions. So then I'll take that and I'll incorporate that. And then I film. Um, and filming, I would estimate, takes roughly 5% of the time it takes to make a video. Oh, if I do a demonstration as well, I put that at the very beginning, like demonstration animation, that would be at the very beginning. So then I film and then I edit. Specifically for how I do Billy, Bobby, and Bo, um, let me do this. I just have to share my screen.
I think you can share now.
Okay, so what I do for Billy, Bobby, and Bo, just gonna share my desktop. All right. I have, for example, this is a video that I'm working on right now.
Mm.
Um, and what I do is I have Billy, Bobby, and Bo are right here. So we have Bobby, Bo, and Billy. So what I do is I film all of the characters separately, clearly, because there's only one of me. So, for example, you can see I'm filming Billy, and Billy is just listening. He's making a face here because of a response. But so I film all of Billy, then I film all of Bo, and what I do is you can see I crop Bo's video, and then I film all of Bobby. What you can see I do with Bobby is I take and I add a mask. So what happens with Bobby is, hold up, I got to do this. Okay. What I do with Bobby is I add a mask. So you could see that he is filmed separately as well. But when I lay him over the top, I have all three of them film together. Um, it's taken a fair amount of time to get that set up to work. I have all the scripts on the wall behind there. I have to time out how long they're going to wait and listen to one another. Um, it's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun for me. I approach all of this as basically a giant puzzle, and I really enjoy like putting that puzzle together. All right, so I film, I edit, and then after I'm done editing, I upload the finished video to again to my quality control team. and they look over it for any sort of mistakes or anything. Um, so other than my quality control team that like looks over the script and the video when it's done, I do everything. And I estimate that it takes me roughly 2 hours per minute of video.
Wow. When you had when you taught school and you made these videos for your students, like did you spend the same amount of time editing or like did you have the same amount of like animation? It,
So, so when I very first started flipping my classroom, all I did was film my lectures in class. And I used those, and they were terrible for flipped learning. Because it was just me in front of the class. It was not great. Um, and so the reason I started making the flipping physics videos is because I went out to the web and tried to find videos that would work, and I just couldn't find any. So the answer is yes. I've started making these for my class, and then other people started to use them, and I just kept making them for my own class, but for other people as well, because it's, again, I really love doing it.
Yeah. About your flipped classroom idea, um, our physics teachers also do this. Could you talk a little bit about like what a flipped classroom means and how why it works specifically for physics? And then did you like invent it? Because we haven't really seen it anywhere else.
So, no, I did not invent it. I read an article in the fall of 2012, I think, somewhere roughly there, about the concept of flipped learning. So I did not invent it, but that was 2011. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. Um, I did not invent it. The basic idea behind flipped learning is that the time you need your teacher the least is during the lecture, because the lecture is just like presenting information, right? You can get that information from a textbook, you can get that information from a video. Like that's the least efficient use of class time is the lecture, right? So when you watch one of my videos, you can pause the video. I can make the video. I estimate that like I can present the same amount of information in somewhere between a third and half the time because it's just a lot more efficient to have a video. I can have closed captions so you can read them. I can create lecture notes so that you can have those as well. So like the flipped video for learning versus a lecture is a much more logical way to do lectures. Plus, those lectures are done at home so that you can then do the things you would normally consider homework in school. That's the whole idea with the flipped learning. And it's just a lot more efficient with students' time. The time you need the teacher is when you are actually struggling through understanding the stuff, processing the stuff, and having the teacher there to be able to give you gentle nudges and help you understand how the physics works is really much more helpful. But it takes kind of a refiguring of what it means to be a teacher, because when you talk about a teacher to most people, they imagine somebody at the front of the room lecturing, right? And that's not what flipped learning is. Flipped learning is the teacher is not really up in front of the class very often. Most of the time, they are out in the class helping them with a lab or whatever it is they're helping them with. Um, yeah, so that's the basic concept of flipped learning. I actually, for my last 6 or 7 years of teaching, taught in an asynchronous flipped gameful mastery learning class, which was a lot of fun, but very crazy.
Yeah. And then this one's a little bit pivoting a little bit away from physics.
Hmm.
But we noticed in your About Us page that you donate your hair every 2.5 years. Could you
Yeah.
talk a little bit about like why you do it and like your journey for this?
Sure. When, well, how come every question you ask, I always go way back? Okay. So when I was in high school and I was um, like 16, 15, 16 years old, I played soccer and I was on the diving team. And in both of those instances, I was not allowed to have long hair for various reasons, which really bothered me. Like my soccer coach was like, you can't have long hair for whatever reason. I don't remember. My diving coach was like, you can't have long hair. And so I when I was 17 years old, I had an accident while playing soccer such that I ripped off two ligaments in my knee, and I can't play soccer or do any like sports like that anymore, and I wear a knee brace. But there were the one thing that I could come up with made me very sad and depressed when I was 17 to because I couldn't like anyway, I was told, well, it doesn't matter, but like I couldn't play sports. There were a lot of things I couldn't do at that time. And the one thing I could do was grow my hair out. So since I was like 17 years old and that happened, I have always had long hair with one exception. When right before I graduated from college with my bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering, I cut my hair so that I could get a job. And I've realized that that was not a good idea because I really should never have been hired anywhere that wouldn't hire me because of who I am, which is all about my hair, which is funny. Okay. So about 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I realized there was no reason for me to keep getting haircuts every 6 months or a year, that I could just basically be a hair farm because I don't really care what length my hair is, and it could actually go to something useful. And it actually came from uh, a viewer as one of my students. No, 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 it wasn't. Shoot, I can't remember. I don't even remember how it started, honestly. But I was just like, I should start donating my hair, and it was like 15 or 20 years ago. And yeah, every 2.5 years or so, I donate my hair.
Thank you. That's really cool.
Sorry, I have very long-winded answers.
And you mentioned that you do have like a team that views your videos after you finish it, and like, but from like your audience, like how do you take feedback? Like if a viewer spots like an error in your video, like has it ever happened or?
Has it ever happened? Really? That's going to be a question. Has it ever happened? Of course it's happened. Sorry. I've had all sorts of errors in the videos because that's life, right? Like even after I started having the quality control team, I still have some errors in the video because actually, I will mention this. I'm sorry. One step in the process that I totally forgot. After I make the video and before my quality control team watches the video, my wife watches every single one of my videos. Sorry, she needs to get credit for that. Um, and what's fun about it is her background is opera and social work, so she knows absolutely nothing about physics, but she can watch the videos and check for errors. Um, and so yes, I've had errors. Um, if it's just a minor error, I don't worry about it. If it's a physics error, actually, if it's a physics error, I will, no matter what, fix it and upload a new version. Um, I've only had, like, usually it's some sort of minor physics error where I've, put something on the screen that's wrong, but I've said the right thing or something like that. Um, And I've only had one video throughout the years where I had to completely redo the video, though.
And then our next question is, you were talking about how your channel is mainly focused on like AP physics, but we've seen like a couple videos about like how to approach physics problems or things like that. So the question is the channel more geared towards like just AP physics or like learning as a whole? How would you like describe it?
Um, I would actually describe it as it's about physics as a tool for learning. It just happens to be that because I'm in the United States, that the AP physics curriculum is the primary curriculum for me teaching students in the United States. Um, but I use physics as a tool to help people learn how to think. Like that's always been my main focus as a teacher, is to use physics to help you use your brains. And I don't know if you've noticed, but like that's the way I approach everything. Like slowing down, reading through, understanding what you're talking about, understanding everything before you actually start to solve the questions. With regards to the curriculum specifically, I actually also have playlists for like A-level physics in England, I have playlists for the JEE, which is the All India Joint Entrance Exam, because there are a lot of students who use my videos from there as well. Um, so AP Physics is just like the primary curriculum that I work on, but there are all sorts of other curricula that fit as well, because AP Physics is just one.
And
Well, it's just four actually, but whatever.
are those all on your YouTube channel?
Yeah. Yep.
And how do you like curate your videos? Like, do you feel like you'll ever run out of topics to make videos on, or?
Oh, that. So I get this question a lot, mainly from people who don't know physics. It's like, well, you've been doing it for 13, is it 13 years? You've been doing it for 13 years. Aren't you going to run out of topics? And the truth is that I have a long list of videos I want to make, and the rate at which I make videos is not fast enough. That list of videos gets longer than I can make the videos. So, um, I don't anticipate I'll ever run out of videos I want to make. Like I would love to make videos about astronomy as well. Like there's all sorts of things I would love to do.
What are some like examples of like physics topics that are currently on your list of um like video ideas?
Well, let's see. So currently I'm working through the AP Physics 2 curriculum, but I also have uh like I've gone through all of AP Physics, I compared all my videos that I have to AP Physics 1, AP Physics C Mechanics, AP Physics C Electricity and Magnetism. There are a few little pockets of things that I either no, there's nothing that I really missed, but there are a few that I want to do a better job with. Um, so really right now, I feel like my AP Physics 2 students I've neglected for so many years because I've gotten questions about that for a long time. And so I'm glad to start working on that, but it's probably going to take me 3 or 4 years to get through the curriculum. And that makes me a little bit sad. So right now I'm focused on those various curricula, honestly, because that's probably what I need to do in order to call this a real job. If I just start making videos about random physics, um, it's not going to be as helpful for my views, I don't think. But who knows? I'll probably end up doing that in 5 or 10 years, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, okay. As we're like nearing the end of
Mhm.
the interview, is there any advice you would give to physics students that are like currently struggling in physics or just like taking physics and find it hard?
Okay. Truth is that physics for most people is hard. You are taking science and math and combining them. And for most students who start taking physics, this is a new concept to them. The idea that math has a purpose, the idea that science can be done with math. Um, and I find that there are a fair number of students struggle, especially at the beginning. Um, I remember with AP Physics C mechanics, I would have several students who, after that first test, would come to me and be like, I've never gotten anything but an A on a test, and I just got a D on this test. What did I do? So we sit down and have a conversation. What I've learned is a lot of students who are struggling in physics have never really learned to study, and they've never learned to practice. Like it is literally something you need to practice, right? You need to sit down and you need to struggle through problems. You need to struggle through labs, and it is through that struggle that you learn. But a lot of students are not used to learning being a struggle, but that's what learning is. If you already understood all the stuff, you wouldn't have to learn it. Um, I'm not sure exactly what my advice is from there, but it's like it's okay that it's hard and just keep working at it. It's going to be okay. And watch my videos.
Yeah.
They help.
And our very last question is there anything important that you would like to share with students, staff, or community of our school?
So I recently made okay, how do I say this? So I recently posted two videos on the idea that I was wrong about a physics concept that I'd been teaching for like 2 decades, 2.5 decades. Um, and it was interesting the responses I got from those two videos. One was the basic concept of like, I was wrong about something, and here are the consequences of that. And the other was the physics that I was wrong about. And for a large percentage of people, I got really positive responses like, this is great, thanks for sharing this. Because like part of the idea with the video that was like I was wrong was like, look, we're gonna be wrong and we're gonna learn stuff that we've been wrong about for 20 years. And we as a society need to be okay with that. And I feel like we are at a point where there are a lot of people who are refusing to learn when they get new information. And I was a little bit saddened that I got feedback from I'll call it a small number of people who were like, I got one that was like, you didn't know this for the last 25 years. You're a terrible teacher. I can't believe that you consider yourself an educator. You should just leave and do something different. Um, I got several comments like that. And I have on my ultimate review packet, um, I have quizzes and tests that I wrote, and I got some help with. But there's a spot that you can give feedback. Um, and I got a teacher that responded to one of my questions where I'd gotten something wrong. And they started their feedback with, "This is wrong." And I just felt like we can be better than this, right? Like we run across people making mistakes all the time. I must make mistakes. You guys make mistakes. Like we need to be better and kinder to one another. That's kind of it. I know that I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it more. Like I'm feeling it more where we are right now. Like we just need to be open and listen and be kind.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you so much. This was a really great opportunity.